Hey everyone, it's Tim and Falcon Knight back with more Road to 1K Season 3. Today's match is going to be this Tier 4 Fog match on Creepy Crawler versus User Flying Vacuum. Um, so yeah, it's going to be a Tier 4 Fog match. That's going to be the main gist of it. It's also going to focus sort of on uh, Sammy on this map especially, but also against Grim a little bit. So that's going to be today's match, I guess. So I'm going to start off by just taking another look at the fog tier list for tier 4. This is everyone who's going to be allowed except for Flack and Jugger. So you have the choice between Adder, Grim, Jake, Jess, Cole, and Sammy in tier 4. And it's on this map, which is Creepy Crawler. Now, looking at it, you see all these planes, it's nice and open and stuff. You might think it's a bit of a Jake map, but it's honestly not. Well, first of all, it's an A rank map, so yeah, keep that in mind. It's no longer in Global League actually. It's out of the pool for now. And a couple things about this map is you have this production center in the corner here, which, well, actually all the production centers really are all behind forests and stuff. So that makes it kind of difficult for everything except for your air units to move through, get to the front lines very quickly. It's going to slow them down a little bit. Meaning that if you have, like, good air units are a good idea on this map. And out of tier 4, that sort of narrows it down to, if you're looking for ACL with good battlecopters, you basically want Adder, Grim, or Jake generally, and because of all the planes, I'd say probably Jake. Grim's also not, like, awful for that. It's just you have to play semi-defensively as Grim. And then Cole could be okay. There are enough roads that, like, Cole could do stuff. But I'd say Jake's probably a little bit better than Cole, maybe. The thing about this map is, like, it's very small, and it's not really that dense even. It's only got 34 properties, which means you're sitting at like 17k if you're at a stalemate. Well, not 17. Yeah, no, wait, it's 17k each if you're at a stalemate. Yeah, which isn't, you know, enough, like, it's enough for, I guess, it's not even enough to get a battlecopter and a tank out reliably. Like, you're basically going to be switching between. You can't really spam out more expensive units with this, I guess. So because it's so limited and your income is so limited, you might actually just go infantry spam plus air units, because that way you can just afford air units pretty easily. And like battlecopter spam, even though you only have just the one airport, because of it, the income is semi-limited. It's not like that bad, and because it's sort of hard to get your units past these forests, it's also like not that bad either. Of course, obviously, don't just do that. You, but I guess well, let's just look at the CO data for this, just to put this into perspective a little bit. So. Well, first of all, player 2 has a pretty significant advantage. It's like a 4-point swing. And then second of all, you'll notice, like, Adder's at 41%, Jake's at 47%. The only tier 4 CO that is actually above water is actually Sammy on this map, and she has like 50%, 7% win rate here. So this is definitely a Sammy map. Sammy maps are kind of hard to find on in Global League, but this is definitely one. And I think the reason for it is because it's really open, and it's because it's so open, it makes the infantry game a lot more important. And it makes Sammy's weaknesses, which is her reduced attack on basically all direct units except for infantry, it makes that a bit more relevant. But of course, like, it doesn't, if you're going for, like, if you're playing Sammy, what you sort of want to do is actually kind of do Battlecopter spam if you can a little bit. And then just do tanks to deal with anti-air mostly, but also let tanks when you can. And then you sort of want to back up your... and there's also anti-air, obviously, because your anti-air can just take out your opponent's Battlecopters anyways. But you want to... If you're playing Sammy, you eventually want to get a transport copter, or maybe even 2 out, to start ferrying mechs out to back up your vehicle units, so that if your opponent tries to push in against your vehicles, you'll get a nice burst strike off with your mechs. And yeah, the other reason why Sammy's really good on this map is because it's so open. It's your opponent's HQ is kind of just asking for a victory march. Like, it's not 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's like 3 turns, and you have an infantry. You can have an infantry in place to try a victory march if you want. With a transport copter, you can get it a little bit easier as well, even. But like by the time you eventually save up enough for a victory march, you're definitely going to have infantry in range to actually seize your opponent's HQ if you want. Just with a victory march. That's kind of what Sammy wants to do on this map. It's not really a double time map for her, especially because of the spacing of the cities. It's kind of weird because most of the cities are like 4 spaces apart, which is sort of like, which makes you sort of want to use like Adder or Sammy for the extra infantry move to be able to chain a little bit easier, but like it's not going to be that relevant as you're going to be able to get to most of these before them. So, an interesting map for sure. And I think my opponent's Grim choice is a bit unorthodox, but like honestly, I kind of like it on this map. Because what Grim can do is he can just ball up a bunch of units, and then he can just push in with them. And then if you try to push in against it, like sure he'll be taking a good amount of damage from your attacks, but like if you don't have a bigger ball of units ready, which you probably won't, even though it's a small map, you can't really just push in against balls of units. Grim's balls and units effectively because his firepower is so high that he will just be able to push back against you and wipe you out, basically. Especially because it's an open map like this. You can't really hide most of your units effectively in like cities and stuff. When you're balling them up, there aren't really any effective choke points. Oh, I guess I can go over the comm towers really quickly. They're sort of contested, because they're by this and then this. So you have like a base in an airport almost pushing against just a single base. It's sort of 2 base here, but you sort of want to swing your units out this way. They're sort of contested, but also not really that contested. Like they're further away from your production buildings and the HQ, so you more so want to go for the HQ than the comm towers on this map. If it's ever in Global Week again. So I guess we can just go ahead and get started on the actual replay now. So first priority for me on this map, yeah, I would definitely do that. Like, honestly, you kind of Yeah. Like, there isn't really a decision here to make. You just want to go for the airport immediately out of this, because there's nothing better to move your infantry in with. Because you still get the income from airports. It's not like you're going to be able to get to a city a turn earlier or something like that. So obviously moving with his infantry. The good thing about Grim on a smaller infantry-based map like this is that he has really good firepower. Like, Sammy's the only one who can really stand the chance against Grim's infantry firepower. Jake can do okay, but like it's only 10%, so like, because it's Grim, yeah, it's not. You sort of need Sammy's firepower to deal with his infantry effectively. And he goes for an early double recon. I sort of respect it, but you don't really need to this early on. So I think he should have saved up for a tank at least before, or maybe even a battlecopter before going for this. So I'm moving on to this city here, sort of for two reasons. The reason why I went onto the city was to make sure that if he by chance was sending in infantry this way, it would be blocked, and then also for the defensive boost. Assuming he had gotten like a tank or maybe even a battlecopter, because you definitely have the money for it if you want it, if you want to rush for that. So it's a little bit exposed if he had gone for the tank. Although it's kind of, honestly, I don't think he would have been able to get the tank out in time. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, you could get it out here in the same amount of turns. So like if he had theoretically just gone tank and base skipped here, he could have had a tank out here really early on. Of course, I wouldn't be able to see all of that much, but it would definitely be able to see into the city. So, yeah, but unit count's probably going to be more effective than that, than the early tank, than the super early tank. And then here's the tank. Turn 7 is a little bit late for it, but I don't know. And then I'm going for the second recon here as well after I get my first tank. I go onto the HQ here for a really good shot here against his infantry here. Oh, he also attacked into my recon with his recon. It's actually, like, honestly, Grim recon into recon isn't that bad. So keep that in mind. I'm bringing around the tank as well, but like, yeah. And then he's going for the third recon here. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's because he didn't have money for anything else really, but honestly, infantry would probably be slightly better at this point. And he shouldn't be nearly this aggressive with his first recon. So now I've got 2 tanks out. And he got the battlecopter out on day 8, which is maybe a little bit early, but like I'm getting the anti-air out here as well. Honestly, good builder. Tank anti-air isn't like a bad build order on a map where you have airports in reach this early, because that way you're just making sure that your opponent doesn't really capitalize off of an early battlefield like this. He one-shots recon here, obviously. Grim can just do that. A lot of COs can actually just do that in tier 4 actually. So not like unexpected. And once you have the comm tower, you can usually do that as well. So like Ghost Recon is going to disappear pretty quickly, and he's going for the Arty here as well. Not exactly sure where he's going to put it. Maybe he's going to try and push towards the comm tower with it. But here you can just see Sammy's insane freaking infantry firepower here. And her capture gains. Like, he's going to need to invest a little bit of infantry power here if he wants to interrupt these caps. Because they only have 5 left on each of them. Now, Grim is one of the few COs that can actually pretty effectively contest Sammy's caps, but he's not actually going for it here. Really too heavily. So he's going for the cap there. And yeah, so I have my 17, well no, I have my 18k, so I'm actually a little bit ahead in income already. Oh, I guess 18k is the total. Oh, I was forgetting the HQs. I always forget the HQs. When I was copying the income earlier, but like 18k still isn't a lot. So I've got my battlecopter here to deal with his tanks. Got my anti-hero to deal with his battlecopter. And yeah, basically, especially in a map like this where you know where the airport is, you can just send anti-air that way and it'll be pretty effective. He's doing pretty good damage here against my infantry as well. Because that's just Grim's 30% firepower. It's actually this exact same as Sammy's. So his first strikes with his infantry are very, very effective. Alright. So taking out his tank there and guarding the forest as well. Getting a nice little infantry line here. And I have a mech here to sort of back up my battlecopter and stuff as well. In case he tries to send like an anti-air or something. When did I build that? I think I built that, yeah, turn 11. Yeah, you definitely don't want to open up with a transport copter at the same. You definitely want to wait a couple of turns. But once you get enough income to where you can start affording the mechs, it is very effective to get a transport cup, invest the 5k into the transport copter, and just start pumping out mechs. Because they are a very good tool to just guard your vehicles and your anti-air and your battlecopters and such. Like if you moved in with a anti-air here against my battlecopter, I could just counter with a mech. Especially because I think mechs have, anti-air only have 2 sights, so you wouldn't be able to see it either necessarily. And I actually go for a second transport copter here. Yeah, I think that's good, because that's sort of all that I can really afford. Instead of this, I could have maybe gotten an extra tank here. But, like, I already have a bunch of tanks in the area, so I don't really need an extra tank right now. Maybe I could have saved up for, like, a medium tank or something. Nah. Like, the 8k here is going to be a good investment. Like, having 2 transport copters is going to be really nice. As you'll see later on. So, I obviously am able to interrupt that cap fairly easily. Take him out completely, get a nice shot off over here. And right now you're sort of seeing the main issue with Grim is that he just has no defense. So if his units are like, if they're not in a nice tight ball where they can capitalize off of each other and guard each other, then you can just pick them off like this relatively easily, even if you have reduced Sammy firepower on your direct units. So yeah. And the best thing about this is, like, he can't even see my mech right now. So he can't even effectively counter it with his infantry. Takes that out, and then, yeah. So he's got... Right now we're sort of flip-flopping in between like income lead and unit count lead. That's sort of what the deal is with Grim, is it's gonna flip-flop quite a bit because the fact that he has such high firepower and low defense means that a lot more units are gonna die, both yours and his. So yeah, it's an interesting little flip-flop. Got my anti-air here to guard this guy now, so, and a mech here as well. So like, as you can see here, I got this nice little mech formation to guard my vehicles. Now these two are a bit spaced out, but like he's got nothing in the area to deal with it yet, so it's fine. I go for another battlecopter as well, and I have this mech ready to move out next turn. So he takes out something or other, takes out my battlecopter like that. Honestly, the anti-air would... Well, he can't move in with the anti-air because he moved in to kill... Oh yeah, night. Okay. So good move with the medium tank there, because I have literally nothing to deal with it in the area except for this battlecopter in a turn or so. But like right now, there's like nothing that I can really deal with it with for the time being. And it's on a city as well. Like, I guess so. Let's do Sammy battlecopter into Ram. Medium tank, city, where's the city? So, city, one here. Yeah, Grim's actually getting an extra bit of defense on the medium tank while I was in the city, but like once he leaves the city, well, it's not going to be that much of a difference, but like Sammy's battlecopters are actually not that bad against Grim medium tanks. So all I really have to deal with his medium tank is just send battlecopters at it. Instead of dealing with his medium tank, though, I decide, because I don't really have anything in the area that can sort of deal with it, I guess I could have thrown mechs at it, and that could have been okay, but like I sort of want to keep my units. So I sort of sacked my anti-air. Hope to have it like as a target for a medium tank. So because I'm pivoting my units toward his HQ now that I have Victory March ready. And so it's sort of to draw the medium tank away from that, and then also towards my battlecopter here. And then I've got the anti-air to sort of... I've got this built just in case he puts like a battlecopter or something on his HQ so that I can clear it for my Victory March. And he moves in. This is a pretty good move in here as well. He takes out my mech. The sort of okay shot off on the transport, which doesn't really matter, and then pops this as well. Gets a nice little push against my units in this area. Takes out my black boat, which the thing about these black boats is they don't really matter, but they are sort of annoying because you can't really send units across that bridge, but like you can always just send them this way instead. So they don't really matter. So I guess that's why he built those RDs. I don't know if that's the best investment in the world. But as you can see here, I move in with the recon and I'm like, oh, well, would you look at that? So I pop my superpower. Gives me enough room to move my mech in here to take out his recon and take out his infantry with my infantry. Now I have another tank in the area, so I could use that to finish it off if it hadn't gone. Well, I don't think this is even a luck roll. No. Because of Grimm's bad defense. Same with this into this, yeah. But like, let's say it wasn't Grimm. Let's say it was like Andy or something. This isn't really guaranteed. and then infantry into infantry is also not even remotely guaranteed. Yeah. So, if I hadn't gotten the roll here, I don't think I would have been able to do this against anyone other than Grim. But because of his bad defense... Although I'm not sure... No, it's Sammy. Sammy's firepower is definitely better on her max into 3 pounds, right? Let's see. Yeah, much better, much better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So like, this guy is like just out of range to where I could have been able to do it. But yeah, I'm able to do that, clear that, clear that, clear that, and bam. That's it. that's victory march. That's why Sammy's a little bit busted on this map, honestly. Yeah, I think she's too good for... well, I don't even know. Like, honestly, like, Sammy might not even be that good in tier 3, even. On this map, because it's open. But she's definitely Rex tier 4. Just because of how crazy you can do victory marches here. But mainly I think it was because she had a weakened... my opponent had a weakened anti-air here, but I was able to do this, so... Like, if you had had a battlecopter or even this tank on there, I don't think I would have been able to do that this turn. I would have had to wait for more of my units to move in here, for sure. So, yeah. My opponent definitely left his HQ exposed, which you cannot do against Sammy. It's just, you will lose. You will lose if you do that. I think that was really my opponent's only real mistake, though, honestly. Other than that, he was doing pretty well. I think he had a second... Yeah, he had a second power-up in a second if he wanted it, so... That could have been a little bit scary. I don't think I would have really cared too much about his... 6 health... Well, a 6 health Grim... Or even a 7-1, but like 6 health Grim. Oh, that's on a road too. That's super exposed. But even like a 6 health or 7 health Grim medium tank can still get to do a decent amount to your tanks and stuff if you're not careful. But yeah, that was this creepy crawler match against Grim. Basically, the way I dealt with Grim in this match was just going for the HQ cap with Sammy's superpower. 25. I feel like I definitely would have been able to do a decent amount of pushing over here. Like, I could have done... Like, had I not had the victory march ready, I still would have been able to do a pretty good push against him here. Like, I have units ready to deal with the anti-air, deal with the medium tank. And I had the income lead for quite a bit of time, so yeah. And I have an anti-air moving in over here, so if I didn't have the victory march, I probably would have balled up around this area to wait for my anti-air. But yeah, I had it, so I was able to just push in like that. But yeah, listen. But yeah, and I think this match did go to show just how crazy good Grim's firepower is. It's not something that you want to be. It's not something that you want to discount. Like, if Grim gets the jump on you and gets a really good first strike on you, it's actually very difficult to deal with. Like, he can tear through your units as effectively as you can tear through his. So your opponent picks Grim, it basically just becomes a matter of figuring out just whoever gets the first strike first. And it's even worse than like playing Max versus Max like that. Because not only because of the attack buff and the defense debuff. But yeah, that's it for. That was the wrong button. Yeah, so that was it for today's match. Next one's gonna be this High Funds match on Dragon Blood, against a Grit player. Yeah, I think there's a I've shown off how. Well, I haven't really shown off how Grit's bad in Fog. It was more of how you can easily misplay Grit in Fog, but I don't think that Grit's very good in Fog, honestly, and he's not very good in High Funds either. Even in this map, so the High Funds map, you will be able to see just how I deal with Grit in that. Yeah, that'll be next week's match, so I guess like, subscribe, and all that nonsense. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.